Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Johnson.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to join Senator Coons in thanking you for your past service to the country and your willingness to serve in this capacity. I also appreciate the time you spent with you yesterday. I enjoyed the conversation. As a business person, I always seem to frame these issues in, from a businessman's perspective, and take a look at a relationship with China. To me, it seems like just one long, ongoing negotiation. And one of the things I certainly learned in negotiating in business was I first like to understand the motivation of the person I'm negotiating with, and then like to spend a lot of time on the front end figuring out what we agree on before we get into the areas of disagreement. So I kind of want to structure my questioning along that framework. What from your, and again, in our meeting you said you've been to China a number of times on different trade missions, and you've met with a lot of leaders. What would you, or how would you assess their motivating factors? What motivates Chinese leadership?
Senator, I think, like most leaders in most countries, they want to do well, provide for their people, but they're also people like their jobs, and want to do what they can to provide for their people, but also undertake actions so they don't lose their jobs, frankly. And my experience is basically yours. Often, though, to be honest, when I talk to leaders worldwide, it's because I don't know them well. It's hard to get past the pleasantries and past the talking points. It takes a lot of time to get past pleasantries and talking points that one does get past only when one is able to spend quite a bit of time with that person. In this case, if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, I theoretically have a lot of time to spend with a lot of different people in China and do my best to figure out which ones are the most effective, which ones will make the most difference so that I can be most effective. That's going to be a goal of mine. And I agree with your general approach, is to figure out what you agree on, put that aside, but mark that as progress, because it is progress, and then figure out what you don't yet agree on. But then the next point is to, when you're talking, try to understand the other person's assumptions, the other person's premise. Asking questions, it's listening, because the more you ask questions, positive questions, non-adversarial questions, and try to figure out where they're coming from, they're more likely that you're going to find little insights and new ways to find a solution here. My approach in this job, since I've been here in the United States Senate, has been to do my very best to work with senators on both sides of the aisle to get results, just be pragmatic. And that would be my approach here, too, to just do the best I can, listening, being forthright. I'm the kind of guy, too, who likes to talk straight. This is what it is, not be angry about it. This is just what it is. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. And to listen and to convey the impression that we want to solve problems.
I appreciate that, and I tend to agree, and I hope it's true that their primary motivating factor is improving the condition of the people of China. But then let me ask the question, so what do you think would motivate them to initiate the air defense identification zone? How does that further that goal?
Senator, I am no real expert on China, but it's my strong belief that Chinese people are just as proud as we Americans are proud. And I think, unfortunately, the Chinese leadership is taking advantage of that pride to test America in the South China Sea or the East China Sea. And it means we've got to stand up. It's the old thing in life, being fair but firm. Be fair to understand, show that you're going to work with people that can trust you, but firm, we're not going to be taken advantage of. And that is vitally important here for the United States, in my judgment. And we be firm, fair but firm, by engaging in a constructive conversation. For example, with respect to the Senkakus, say, We don't recognize that, ADIZ. But hey, kind of cool it, calm it. Same with the South China Sea. So we don't count its potential air identification, air defense identification zones in the South China Sea. That's not a good thing to do for a lot of reasons. A basic is that our national security is number one to us, as their national security is to them. But also our commercial economic security is so important, not just the United States, but also to China and other countries of the world. Half the tonnage travels through the Straits of Malacca and the South China Sea. And it's vitally important that that commerce continue so that countries can grow and prosper. So in answer to your question, I don't know, I can't really tell you the motivation of the Chinese leadership, but I can tell you that the approach that we should take, if confirmed, is one that I will pursue, namely constructive engagement, talking, but standing up. It's positive, constructive engagement, grounded in reality, and make sure they understand both sides of that. It is as constructive as positive, but also grounded in reality. And I think the general rebalancing to Asia Pacific is important. But again, it's at all levels. It's not just military, but also economic and political.
Okay, well, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on, I think the latest figure is China owns or holds $1.3 trillion worth of U.S. government debt. What are your thoughts on that? From my standpoint, the primary problem with that is that anybody holds $1.3 trillion of U.S. government debt. But can you just kind of give me your thoughts in terms of the potential dangers of that? Or you know, positive aspects?
Yeah, well, the biggest concern, frankly, is that anyone holds so much of our debt. It's important to get our debt down. Actually, the percentage of U.S. debt that's held by China, I think, is pretty small, smaller than most people think. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, it's very important. And the real key here is to get our trade imbalance abolished down so that China is not continuing to accumulate such currency reserves. That's the big point here. So they're not therefore investing so much in U.S. Treasuries.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Senator Risch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Max, one of the issues